I'm Plami, and in this episode of Plami's Thought Zone, I'm gonna be sharing my thoughts on the season and series finale of The Walking Dead World Beyond, called The Last Light. And I gotta say, I really did not expect for this episode to shock me more than the most recent episode of Fear the Walking Dead did. But somehow it did. I mean, I expected a lot of like the shock and epicness that this episode had, but I just did not quite expect the things exactly that happened in this episode. And goddamn, why does the show that has to end after 2 seasons has to be the show that feels like it needs a third? Because for a lot of the things that happen in this episode, they don't really tie up everything. There's actually quite a lot of setup in this episode, like them going to Portland, and what happens with Silas. That is also a setup, it feels like, and what happens with Kublek. There's a lot of setup in this episode, but what is it a setup for? This show is over. I don't think it's a setup for the movies, at least not all of it. So what is this for? Tales of the Walking Dead? That's kind of the only thing I can think of. Unless they out of nowhere decided to renew this show for a 3rd season, which I very much doubt because there's no information or any possibility for that. But yeah, before we get into the review a little more deeper though, I do want to warn you that there's going to be spoilers about Fear the Walking Dead's mid-season finale for Season 7, because there's a surprising amount of similarities and connections between these 2 episodes that I do want to comment on and compare. So if you haven't seen that episode, go and watch it. It was batshit crazy. Debatably more than this episode, but honestly both of these episodes just have blown my mind so much. I just still cannot recover from it. I'm still blown away and befuddled by what the fuck happened in these 2 episodes. But yeah, where do I even begin with this episode? It's definitely as epic as a finale should be, but I actually honestly expected more character deaths than what we got. And I actually did not expect to get a death for Hawk. She's definitely one of the characters that I thought was gonna survive, but I guess not. Although I gotta say her death was pretty heroic, and I really liked it. Although I kinda guessed that it was gonna happen. The second she sent Dennis and Silas away to get a new alternative detonator or whatever for the explosives with which they could blow the gas, I kind of felt like she was probably gonna sacrifice herself, so she sent him away because she still, I guess, feels remorseful for everything. But I definitely did not expect it to happen in the way it did, and it was a really beautiful death in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. I liked her fight with Jadis, although the thing about the fights in this episode, which were Huck versus Jadis and Felix versus the cocky CRM dude, I like them. I think they're creative, and they were fun, and they were entertaining. They were silly at times, and a little confusing about, especially in the case of Huck, why the fuck would you even throw a weapon to Jadis? You're trying to kill her, right? Not to have a sparring match. And I like them. But I feel like they're not necessarily as good as they could have been. I still feel like the fight between Felix and Huck in Season 1 was better, but I still appreciate the creativeness and the entertainment value of it, or something like that. And for anybody criticizing these fights, at least there were fights. Even if they're flawed, at least they were creative and happened. Because remember the last fight on the main show between Daryl and Beta? Yeah, that was a really fun fight, wasn't it? It lasted like a second, with Daryl just slicing Beta and putting the knives into his skull. That was a really cool fight, guys. So yeah, for all the shit that people give this, at least they had a fight. I think it was fun. Although again, it was silly, especially Felix's duo uh, uh, light sword fight. That was kind of silly, but I think it worked. It was interesting, at least. Again, it was cool. I liked it. Um, I kinda, I guess, expected Dennis to die, but I feel like the emotional value of it, in a way, like specifically of his death, was kind of taken away because I already thought that maybe potentially he died because of the way last episode ended with Huck crying near the containers. But no, he survived, only for him to die in this episode by the hands of Silas as a way for Silas to save himself because Dennis was dead anyway. And also his wife slash girlfriend died, so he didn't feel like living anyway. But on the other hand, the way he ended up dying, I think the emotion was really very much there. Because over the course of this season, Dennis and Silas kind of built up a relationship a little bit, and Dennis was a little bit of a father figure to Silas and pushed him to develop as a character and everything. And both of them helped each other. So it was really fucking sad to have Silas have to put him down. It was really sad and really emotional. And I really even liked the kind of emotional outburst for both of them in that scene. Because, like, especially for Silas and his actor, I feel like, and I think that's how his character is just written, but a lot of the time he just feels very, I don't know, closed off and really hiding his emotions. So to see him kind of scream was actually really satisfying and really sold me on that scene, you know? And yeah, I actually ended up liking Dennis quite a lot, and seeing him die really bothered me, but I guess it might lead to something interesting because now Silas is in the CRM and it's gonna be soldiers for the Civic Republic. So there's that. On the other side of things, Elton lost a fucking arm. I mean, I expected some of those characters to die. I truly did. I was wondering how exactly the show was going to end, whether it was going to be a dark ending or a happy ending or whatever. So I was hoping and maybe expecting potentially some of the characters to die, but I did not expect Elton to get bit like that and lose his arm. Although, the more I saw him just use that weapon and the way he was just like carrying himself with like a t-shirt, only just a t-shirt, and having his hoodie on his waist, really made him look like a badass. And I feel like that kind of tried to they tried to make it focus kind of on his arm, so it really felt a little telegraphed and foreshadowed in a way. So I really liked it, and he sacrificed his arm for a good cause, saving Hope. So that was cool. And at the end of the episode, he looked like a fucking motherfucking badass with that weapon and with no arm, and with his girlfriend right by him. So it's all good, I guess. I liked it. But again, just like I said in my Fear the Walking Dead review, what the fuck is with these two episodes of these shows and everybody losing their goddamn left arms? Why? I mean, two characters that I really like lost their arms. I did not expect him to lose the arm. I mean, although I guess it's more, it's preferable to lose your arm over dying. But yeah, that was unexpected. And it was cool. I really can't wait to see people's reactions to these two episodes because they are so insane. I even contemplated doing like a reaction for the second half of like the Fear the Walking Dead episode, and even for like the World Beyond episode if it potentially was as crazy as Fear's episode. But I decided against it. But man, that was really fucking shocking. And it's really annoying, as I said, how the second this show actually gets kind of interesting, it ends. Because I'm now really excited to see these characters travel to Portland and deal with the things that they could possibly deal when they're traveling to Portland. And having Elton with be like a one-armed badass with his girlfriend Asha, and Iris, I guess, also being there. It could be cool, and I don't understand why the fuck they are setting this up as if there's gonna be a third season. It really feels like it. There's a lot of setup in this episode. So I'm curious about why. Are they planning on doing some Tales of the Walking Dead episodes on them? Could be cool. I wouldn't be surprised. But I doubt you would be able to get all the cast for those episodes, so I don't know how exactly that's gonna work out. But yeah, the ending there was really fucking cool. I'll give you that. There's one confusing part about where the fuck the rest of the group decide to stay, like the scientist, Felix, Will, Hope. Maybe I just didn't pay attention because I was writing down notes for the first time for these two episodes. I wrote down quite a lot of stuff. Learned this from Blind Wave. They're a really cool YouTube reaction channel. I really love them, and it's really cool to write down stuff because years from now you're gonna be reading these things and be like, oh wow, this was my reaction. It's kind of like a written version of just doing a reaction video, you know? But yeah, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but I'm really confused about where the hell did they decide to stay. Because like, how the hell do they have any resources and supplies? How the hell are they hidden from the CRM? They seem to be in some sort of like a mall or something. But it's really not clear. But I guess they're set up as well, so yeah, I don't know. Again, it just feels like there's a lot of setup for where this could go, but it's interesting how Hope decided to stay with her father and look for a cure. I guess she still gets to do what she kind of learned she wanted to do in the beginning of the season, which is like try to help and build this better world and find a cure and everything. But yeah. Am I forgetting to mention something? Oh yeah! The post-credit scene. I mean, I guess I also should mention the little interaction between Jadis and Kublek, which is something I did not expect to see at the end, but it's cool that we actually get to see a little bit of a reaction from Kublek about her daughter and what happened to her, because they never got to see each other after, what was it, episode 6 was it, where they had a little bit of a talk when Kublek was giving like the speech, I think it was. So it was cool to see her kind of feel remorseful and question the CRM. And I actually thought that in that scene, Jadis would have had Kublek be executed. But the fact that she survives really makes me think that she's probably going to be in the Rick movies. Because I feel like you don't cast this kind of an actress to not feature her in a more major way. Because yeah, she was a cool character in this show, but she ultimately didn't really do that much, I feel like. So I feel like they're definitely setting up for some things in the movies. I thought that maybe Jadis was gonna be the one to help out Rick, but it's possible that it would be Kublek who would be helping out Rick defeat the CRM. And I'm curious also how Silas is gonna play into all that, because he does end up in the CRM at the end. And Jadis even talks to him and tells him that she knows that Dennis set him up to lie and survive as a way to survive, not be killed by the CRM soldiers. And that she decided to, I guess, groom him into being a loyal soldier to her. Like, you know, they really seem to be setting up Jadis as the villain of the CRM. I know that that's still probably going to be like General Bio or whatever, but she really seems to be like a secondary antagonist in that regard. It seems like it might go in that direction. Like essentially what Simon was to Negan. And we even have Jadis mention lines that are very much straight up what Negan says in season 7 and 8, with like, people are a resource and everything. So it's really cool to see consequences like that affect her character even in this show. But yeah, let's get out the elephant in the room, the post fucking credit scene. I knew that there was going to be a post credit scene about at the end of this episode, and I knew that it was going to be pretty long actually, but I didn't know what it was gonna be about. There was speculation, obviously, that it was gonna be like a teaser for the movies, the Rick movies or something. And as the scene was starting to happen, I thought that maybe Huck survived, because one of the first shots that we see of the person in the post-credit scene was somebody with like wearing a jacket that had a knife hole in it. So I was like, okay, did Huck survive then, I guess? But no, it's not Huck. I don't even fucking know who exactly that is, but it's apparently like a French scientist, or at least French-speaking scientist. And the post-credit scene seems to be set in France, which was fucking crazy to hear on its own. But then fucking Jenner showed up from the first season of the main show, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, that came out of fucking nowhere. Like, at best, I expected something like Rick. This was so much more shocking and unexpected. And I'm actually still curious, did they bring the actor to shoot those scenes? Because he looks remarkably close to how he looked 10 fucking years ago. But it really seems like they probably did, because the final scene in which he talks about the new variant that apparently people in France are dealing with, it seems like those are new lines. Because I wouldn't think that that is something that was said in season 1. At least I definitely don't remember anything about that being said in season 1. But it seems like, because they seem to be setting up these new running walkers, or more aggressive walkers, as new variants of the walkers, it seems like that would be something that they would have to re-record, because I doubt they would be setting it up like from season 1, because in season 1 the walkers very much behaved like that. They were aggressive, running, and all that stuff. But over the years the walkers kind of developed a more consistent way they behaved and everything. So it can be set up from season 1, but I gotta say, it's so fucking crazy to see Jenner in a post-credit scene like this, and bringing up that tease from all the way back of season 1, with like the French being the last people to hold out and have hope for defeating the zombie virus. What a fucking throwback, dude. Like, wow. Like, who the fuck thought that was gonna happen? Who thought that they were gonna go so far back and do this kind of stuff? I certainly didn't. But man, I'm just excited. And as I said, this episode has a lot of setup, it seems like. And again, I question what the setup is for, but I really feel like this scene in particular is set up for Tales of the Walking Dead. Because showing us this scene here and not doing an episode set in France in Tales of the Walking Dead really seems like a fucking wasted opportunity, don't you think? And there's also this little aspect of that scene where in one of the shots you can see something written in French on the side, on one of the walls, which from people who have translated it, it says the dead were born here. So does that mean that we're gonna get an origin to the virus? Because for me that's a no-no. I don't want to learn that. I much prefer the theory that people have been speculating about already, that the French were working on a zombie cure, but they ended up making it worse, because even one of the characters who end up murdering the scientist that we see in this episode says, "You made it worse." So I like the theory that the scientists worked on the walkers and ended up causing them to be worse, creating a new strain of the virus, essentially, which causes the walkers to be more aggressive, more fast, and all that stuff. And the fact that we even at the end of the episode kind of got a little bit of a montage of Hope and her father and the other scientists working on the walkers with fungi, really makes me wonder whether they're planning on making a new zombie type that is for the USA, because in that post-credit scene we also learned that those fast zombies are not present in the USA, nothing alike. That's what Jenner says. So that kind of walkers are only a thing in France and potentially in Europe, but not in the USA. So they're either setting up that these kind of walkers are going to start appearing in the USA, or that a new type of walkers that have something to do with fungi is going to appear in the USA. But if you have walkers with fungi, that's essentially the zombies from The Last of Us. So I don't really think they're necessarily gonna do that, but it's a fun possibility. So there's that. But yeah, all in all, really epic and shocking finale, I would say. It's a solid finale for this show. I feel like it was great. It was entertaining. It was emotional. I feel like I would have liked maybe more main character deaths. Especially I feel like Felix maybe should have died. He really feels like the one character that they were planning on potentially killing but decided against. Because having only Dennis and Hug be the characters to die in this episode, I don't know, feels a little bit like a cop-out. Yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoyed this episode. These two episodes of Fear the Walking Dead and World Beyond just really kind of broke me in a way. I just feel emotionally exhausted after watching these episodes. I don't know. And it's even more exhausting for me because today the first thing I did was actually play through the first episode of the second season of Telltale's The Walking Dead, so you can expect that video as well. Although that might be uploaded before this one, so maybe you should check out that video, not wait for it. So I've been very exhausted on Walking Dead content today. I feel a little bit burnt out. But yeah, in terms of an ending, you know what? I'm just gonna give it a 10 out of 10. I think it was a really great episode, and I really already want to rewatch it. It was a great, action-packed, emotional episode that I feel like could have given a little bit more, but I think it was great. And the fact of how much it has shocked me, the things that happened in this episode shocked me. I think it deserves it. It was a really good episode. For World Beyond, it's a straight up 10 out of 10. Like, nothing even comes close to it, honestly. But yeah, what did you guys think about these episodes? Comment down below and let's have a discussion about it. And as usual, before we end this video, I just want to give a huge shout out to my currently 3 patrons on Patreon: Omar Bridgman, Deadpool, and Lemonade. Thank you guys for your support. I really appreciate any amount of support that you have given me. And I'm really happy that you enjoy my videos enough to decide to do that. So I really hope you continue to enjoy my videos for a long time and continue to support me for a long time, because without you, these videos wouldn't be possible or happen as frequently as I do them now. Or at least as much as I want to do them, because I sometimes just still struggle with this and doing it frequently. But anyway, just thank you very much. It really means a lot to me. And now, before we end this video, I just want to talk about something to you guys very quickly, which some of you may or may have not noticed before or know about me, that being the fact that I am trans. And yes, this may come as shocking to some of you, because I don't really flaunt it that much on my channel, or at least I feel like I don't. Outside of like my K-pop reactions, which is where I feel like the most comfortable being myself like this. And yeah, I am in fact trans. I'm not necessarily full-on male to female, but I heavily want to transition to being pretty female. I do consider myself more non-binary though, or maybe gender fluid would be the best descriptor as well, because I do have occasional moments where I feel fine being like just a normal guy, but most of the time, like right now, I do feel very dysphoric. And that's why I'm asking you guys for any help that you can give me, because my situation right now, I don't really see any way outside of you guys' help. Because, and this is gonna be kept short and concise, I live with my parents. They're never going to accept me as a trans person. They just never will.
And as a matter of fact, back when I started the YouTube channel, I was actually kind of slightly starting my transition back then, with like starting to grow out my hair. I even got to DIY HRT, but because my parents started noticing certain things, like my behavior had changed a lot and my clothes had changed a lot, I kind of had to stop doing that because they were constantly nagging me about cutting my hair and just started to kind of be threatening in a certain way, and felt like they were ashamed of me and everything. And that kind of stress just tired me out to the point where I just gave up. But as dysphoria goes, it just doesn't go away, you know. I still feel like this, and in fact it's somewhat been intensifying again recently, so I just wanted to share this with you guys. And again, I would really appreciate any amount of support you can give me in regards to this, because I just don't see any way out of this. Because even if I moved out of my parents' house and got myself a job and everything, that's just not gonna work for long-term planning, because once I transition, it's like I probably will not be able to get myself a job, because my country is very transphobic. Nobody gives a shit about LGBT people at all. So there's not even much I can do even in terms of transitioning here. So yeah, I don't know. I just would appreciate any amount of support you can give me, be it monetarily or in any way otherwise. And this is not about boosting my channel or anything, or guilt-tripping you with my sob story. I just wanted to get this off my chest and make my subscribers aware of the situation that I am in, and that I would appreciate anything that you guys can help me out with. It would mean literally everything. Like, for example, a friend that I made after starting this YouTube channel, my good friend Yuri, has been helping me out a lot. And I genuinely might have not been here if it wasn't for him showing up and befriending me. So yeah, this just went a little bit longer than I intended, but I would just really appreciate anything you can support me with. That's kind of ultimately what I'm trying to say.
And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, check out links in the description to my Twitter if you want to follow me over there, and to my Wattpad where I post my stories, because in addition to doing all these videos on my channel, I'm also a writer. And if you don't enjoy my stories, or you simply enjoy my videos, you can head over to my Patreon where you can pledge support and help with the channel going, help support me so I can keep writing stories you enjoy. But if you don't want to do it, that's completely fine. You can still help me out in other ways, like liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and especially sharing this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I think it's pretty much it for this video, so hopefully I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye!